F1, and especially Max Verstappen and Red Bull, are in complete disbelief once more, as only 2 weeks after claiming McLaren were doing something illegal with their front wing, some unusual performance of the McLaren rear wing in Baku appeared, and this indicated to a novel approach the team may be increasing its straight-line speed. But is it also illegal? And should it be investigated by the FIA? Let's investigate it for ourselves. So, following the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a fresh source of technical curiosity has emerged, with McLaren's rear wing under focus. The rear-facing onboard camera on Oscar Piastri's MCL38 captured footage showing the upper flap flexing under load, with the most evident example being the outer leading edge of the upper flap tilting upwards as speed increases. This might lead to a further decrease in drag and an increase in straight-line speed, bringing the idea of flexi wings to the forefront. So far this season, the only doubts raised have been over the legality of some of the front wing solutions on display. However, there will undoubtedly be a revived interest in rear wing deflection and flexible features for the balance of this season. The speculation concerning the McLaren rear wing design stems from a race in which Piastri was able to fend off Leclerc, despite his competitor having the DRS open advantage. Formula One drivers have always complained about flexi wings. After all, the teams are continuously looking for ways to use aeroelasticity to boost the performance of their machines while remaining within the parameters of the static testing that the FIA uses to decrease their influence. Of fact, when load is applied to the track, these components will always deform differently because it surpasses the values of the tests, which are primarily concerned with creating a baseline to prevent potentially risky designs. However, this has led to the use of other tactics to assist law enforcement, with onboard camera footage monitoring providing a means to establish how component deformation occurs, which can then be used to change regulations and prevent matters from spiraling out of control. This system was implemented in 2021, when the governing board requested that all teams place 12 target dots in precise areas on the main plane and upper flap. This was done so that the dots might serve as a reference while reviewing footage from the rear-facing camera. The primary picture shows 6 black dots on the top flap and 6 white spots on the main plane. It is known that this was primarily used to self-police the over-rotation of the rear wing assemblies, and in response to concerns about flexible front wings this season, a similar strategy has been used during Friday practice sessions since the Belgian Grand Prix. Given that the FIA will have seen the upper flap's leading edge rotating rearwards from onboard footage, as it has done for a number of races this season, it would appear that the governing body is satisfied that it is within the constraints currently imposed by the regulations. In terms of the overall impact of this flexing, the gap between the top flap and the main plane is expected to have a comparable effect as DRS when deployed, but with far less potency. However, considering that this occurs as the assembly's load increases, it is projected to provide a performance benefit throughout the lap. For example, the flap flexion could be seen in Azerbaijan's middle sector, with onboard film showing the flap visibly rising in the outer area as the top flap lifted up clear of the tip section beside, but with less force than on the main straight. But to fully understand McLaren's rear wing magic trick, examine composite materials and their qualities. The aerodynamic components of an F1 car are built of carbon fiber composites, which are created by mixing carbon fiber with a resin, such as vinyl ester, to produce a composite material with superior performance attributes than the separate components. These materials have been utilized for decades, not just in Formula One, but also in the aerospace sector, due to their exceptional mechanical performance, lightweight nature, and design flexibility. Engineers are always attempting to exploit these 3 features when creating new aerodynamic components. They want to create light pieces that can bend under load while maintaining high stress resistance. The priority for F1 engineers is to design front and rear wings that flex as much as possible under load at high speeds on straights, to reduce drag to the bare minimum, but can then return to their normal position to provide the most downforce under braking and in corners. This technique is made feasible by 2 of the material's properties, their lightweight and their flexibility, which allows them to deform under stress and then return to their original position. But how can the FIA validate these components, and how are they legal? These components must be rigid enough to pass the FIA's static stress test, less than 20 mm deflection with 100 kilograms applied vertically to one or both ends of the wings. This is where the third attribute noted earlier comes into play. Carbon fiber composites are particularly resistant to static forces due to their outstanding mechanical performance, yet exceedingly flexible under aerodynamic strain. This enables engineers to create wings that can twist back at the outer edges at high speeds while passing the FIA's static testing. As a result, the performance of structural components under stress is very high on designers' priority lists, as it may deliver significant performance gains, despite the fact that designing and developing these parts always costs a lot of money. This rear wing solution might explain why McLaren nearly always uses greater downforce rear wings than their competitors. The DRS flap's ability to bend and elevate slightly under aerodynamic pressure allows them to maintain an exceptional maximum speed while having more downforce available. This improves the MCL38's cornering speed and tyre management. In case you're wondering, this magic trick is legal because the rear wing passed the FIA's static testing, proving it complies with technical rules. The Woking team has a clear advantage over their competitors due to this design. However, instead of criticising, we should celebrate Andrea Stella and the engineers at McLaren for finding an innovative solution in the grey area of regulation, resulting in improved performance. Engineering is also about stretching the rules to get that additional bit of performance that will help teams to win races. This mini DRS, as it is nicknamed, is another example of Formula One engineers' inventiveness, since they have discovered a way to read the regulations in a manner that their competitors have not, giving them an advantage. The more interesting battle is yet to come, as the rest of the teams will undoubtedly look at how they can incorporate a similar design methodology, though it's likely that McLaren has already taken full advantage of it this season, given that we've visited a large proportion of the high-speed events on the calendar. What do you think? Should it be investigated? Or should we trust the FIA's load test from earlier this season? It's worth noting that, following the victory, McLaren took the lead in the Constructors' Championship over Red Bull, creating a 20-point gap. With 7 races remaining, and given Red Bull's current record, McLaren are the small favourites to win, and they are looking to lock in that favourite position by adding more upgrades. This came to light as Andrea Stella has disclosed that McLaren intends to improve its cars between now and the end of the 2024 Formula One season. The team has implemented several modifications in recent months, but Stella guarantees that they will not stop in the next races. We are definitely working on upgrades for this season. We are now finalising this. I don't want to disclose too much in terms of what and when, but we do have a plan to make the car faster, Stella said. However, Stella cautions Norris and Piastri. Whether we will be able to do it or not, we will see, because I think we have seen that at this level of development, it's not an easy task to actually change the specification of the car and get it to work as you expect in your development tools. But that's also why we took a bit more time to try and ensure that what we bring to trackside is successful, Stella added. Red Bull Racing incorporated an update in Baku, but Red Bull's head engineer, Paul Monahan, hinted that additional development will take place during the US Grand Prix in Austin. This event follows the Singapore Grand Prix and comes after a long layoff. The big question is, who will win the championship? If you ask me, I think McLaren will be able to lock it in this year. As for the Drivers' Championship, I'm not so sure. I think Verstappen will be able to profit from the fact that Leclerc, Piastri and Norris are driving at a high level and taking points of each other at the moment. This could save Verstappen's season. What do you think? Who will win the championships? Let me know in the comments down below.